Hey guys, it's Jason from the Dental Equipment Repair Channel. Today I'd like to go ahead and share a really exciting device with you that I've had here for a while. This thing has been one of my single favorite devices to use while working on dental equipment. This is called the Escalara StairCat, and what this is, it's a motorized stair climbing dolly, and it is just simply incredible. I've had this now for about 2 years, and uh, we've got the cut sheet here for the device. And so I don't have the StairCat actually with me at the moment, but what I have is several videos of us using it, as well as just this information here. So what I'd like to do for this video is I'd like to go ahead and cover the promotional document here for the Escalara, and then show you a few videos of it actually in use. Now, looking at the sheet here, you'll see on the side, this is really what the unit is about. This guy appears happy. He's got a refrigerator. He's going up a flight of stairs. This guy's got another refrigerator going up a flight of stairs, and then this guy has some sort of big television set, and he's going up a little climber there. And the beauty of the Escalara is that it can transfer heavy loads up and down levels, so it can go up and down stairs. And it's basically a hand truck where you have your wheels. There's a battery to control the climbing function. You can actually see a good picture of the climbing function here. It has several handholds, and it actually has a little switch up here by one of the handholds. So imagine as you're holding onto the dolly, you move that switch, and that is actually what causes this mechanism to work. And the way it works is there are two sets of little cogs here that are 180 degrees out, and these basically go around in a circle. So what happens is as they're moving, they actually catch whatever step you're trying to go up and down, and then what happens is it will actually lift the entire load. And it is just an incredible device. It is a lot of the features are here for it. Um, Basically, the rear wheels roll in one direction like a regular dolly, and then there is a set of basically there's a lifting mechanism which will lift a load about 5 feet up in the air, and it works by a winch. And you move the winch, and what happens is it pulls that cable around a pulley down, and it actually lifts those forks up. So you can see this guy here, he's actually lifting a stove and putting it in the back of his truck. And what is just so great about this unit is that it will actually lift 1,200 pounds, which have never lifted anything that heavy with it. But basically, it's got enough capacity to where you can really move anything up and down flights of stairs. And for dental equipment, this has a ton of relevance because sometimes there's a compressor in a basement or a dental chair or something that's heavy down there that has to be carried up. And stairwells are narrow, and it can be a pretty dangerous feat. So with this device, it's essentially like having another man on your team, and you can actually manage large loads up and down flights of stairs by yourself, which is just really great. And you can see here there's a lot of examples, but what's common to all of them is you have one single guy moving a really large thing. I mean, this guy right here is lifting a gun safe that's probably hundreds of pounds, and he's getting ready to put it on the back of a truck, and that's where he's using the winch to lift the platform up. And I mean, in this picture, he could lift it about as high as his head if he needed to, which is really great for loading things onto vehicles or storing items. So basically, the unit that I have is going to be this RLAHC, and that's a stair climbing forklift with removable lift attachment and a manual winch. And it is very heavy. It's about 180 pounds. So getting this thing on your truck, that's kind of the biggest issue there is with it, is trying to actually get it loaded to go back and forth. But I can put it on my liftgate truck and just very easily move it that way. But it is solidly built. It's made in America, and this is just, it's got a little seatbelt style retaining mechanism here. And I've moved pianos with mine, I've moved dental equipment, and I've honestly made a lot of money with it. It's a extremely good device for just moving things that are otherwise very difficult to move. Because if you can elevate it in the air and you can roll it on wheels, everything becomes much easier to move. So this is, I found this at staircat.com, and this is where you would go to actually look at purchasing one of these. But for this introductory part of the video, I wanted to just show you some of the, just some of the official literature. And again, the way it works is you would move this switch. It goes in two different directions. One in each direction makes the belt go a different way. So if you're going downstairs, you can go downstairs, or upstairs. It's and I think it had, if I remember correctly, I think it does about 130 stairs on a charge of a battery, and it is just a really incredible tool. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump right into some practical videos of it being used. Okay, this is the Escalara. This is a where we normally store it. You can see the different parts up here. It's a little bit hidden, but there's the control switches right there. There's your crank for raising and lowering the two forks. There are two stabilizing arms that remain in contact with the ground, and then two forks that go up and down for lifting. This is the plate that actually will pin on there to give yourself a stable platform. And then the control uses the battery power to run a motor, which runs your little climber up and down. This is the front view. This is the Escalara in use as we're storing a dental chair up on a high rack in our storage area. Basically, by turning the handle, it lifts the two forks and elevates the whatever you're trying to lift. Now, pay attention to the fact that there are not bottom stringers on this. It's not a pallet, it's a skid. So it's important to know that this is not a pallet jack. It's actually because the forks and the feet actually separate from one another. So you have to have an open bottom in order for that to work. This is a very heavy panoramic X-ray in my scrap professional that I use. This actual device weighs probably 500 to 600 pounds. And the Escalara had no problem lifting it up, and then we just went ahead and just shoved it on to his truck. This is a very good thing to take note if you do dental repair, or maybe you have heavy equipment that you're looking to get rid of. I would try to find somebody who's in the scrap industry. They generally like getting heavy things like this. The heavier, the better. That's a little tip there. This is a dental vacuum that was pulled out of a basement. This was a one-man removal, and again, a great example of utilizing Escalara for pulling out heavy items that would be really difficult to try to manhandle. This is also it's an Acme Dental vacuum pump. These are absolutely horrible. They're so loud and shrill. So do yourself a favor and do not ever buy one of these. This is a dual oil lubricated air compressor. I was able to load this on my truck by myself, utilizing the lift feature. And these are incredibly heavy. Each one of those heads weighs about 100 pounds each. So this is probably looking at pretty close to 250 to 300 pound compressor. And I was able to get that in there myself without hurting myself. This is a brand new compressor that we were installing. And as you can see, I have the Escalara here. The installation location was above the dental vacuum pump, and so I was able to get that lifted up there. And again, a great example of we built this table to kind of clear everything underneath it, and that put the compressor up fairly high. And the Escalara was a great way to change the level of that very, very heavy compressor. This is my technician, uh, and he was able to take this chair and put it up here on a table to prep it for our scrapper to come by and pick it up. So we put the chair up high, and then the scrapper backs up and then just simply pushes the chair into the back of his truck. But he was using the handle, and again, you just turn it around in circles and it will just lift up. I believe it's up to 750 pounds vertically it will lift. So great use for this device. This is us putting away a air compressor, and you can see better what I was talking about as far as like having an open space underneath the pallet. It's a skid, and this way you can get the Escalara forks underneath the pallet and lift it, and then easily move the move the device around because it has wheels on the bottom, so you get it lifted high and you can push it around. That's a side view. And all these devices up here, we have 2 dental chairs and 1 air compressor that we stored on a upper shelf of our pallet racking. So this is a great example of how the Escalara can be useful in a shop environment. This was a creation that I made to install track lighting. What I did was frame together 2 square bases that actually connect to 4 poles, and then it is attached using a ratchet strap, so it's very strong. And when this is down on the ground, it's about 5 feet high, and so together with a partner, you can lift your track light on top of it, and then you can lift the track light up to the ceiling and actually push it into the ceiling so that when you go to mount it, you can make sure it's exactly where it needs to be. So you're not trying to mount it as you're lifting it. This is an example of it in its fully raised height, and it actually doubles the height to about 10 feet. So this is a really great way if you have high track lights to mount. This is a really wonderful tool for that. This is the mounting process that's actively happening. Again, Escalara, the framed in jig that I made, as well as the pipes, and this was just something I fabbed up, but you can see it works great, and it's a great way to install track lights. This is an associate who needed to move a dental cabinet, and we were able to wheel the dental cabinet out on dollies and then use the Escalara to load it into a U-Haul truck. This is a great example of lifting heavy things. This probably weighs around 600 pounds. So heavy, and as you can see, we made pretty easy work of it. We both had smiles on our faces after this one. This is a air compressor that I was working on, and using the Escalara as a mobile workbench. You can lift it up and down, and then you can also move it around positionally. So this is a great another use of the Escalara as far as lifting things up to work on them or to just simply have a movable platform. This is me moving a oil lubricated dual head compressor up out of a basement, and as you can see, that is probably that same 250 to 300 pound compressor, and it was completely possible for me to move it up out of the basement myself utilizing the electric climbing mechanism. This is a piano that we were moving out of my basement in my house. We used the lifting mechanism to get the piano into my truck. My Escalara here has moved a total of 3 pianos. So it's very, very good for moving heavy items, even pianos. This is an employee of mine. We are moving a panoramic x-ray out of a basement. You can see the ceilings are very high, and we basically were able to get this very, very heavy panoramic x-ray out with no problem. And again, just the climbing mechanism was fantastic for this purpose. This is a colleague of mine. We were putting uh, a new vacuum in place. We built a new table here, and we had to remove this compressor and put it back in. So the Escalara was good for not only lowering the compressor, but then also wheeling it out and then lifting it back up and putting it back in. So this was uh, a great use for this particular uh, tool. Now, this is a situation where we decided to mount a vacuum, the motors for the vacuum, up in the attic space of a dental office. And so this is the actual tank part, and this is how we got the motors up into the attic. So again, we used the track light attachment, put the motor up on top, and that was a little bit of a challenge to get it up to that height, about our shoulders, but then the Escalara got it up into the attic. So that was a very perfect use for that. This is a panoramic X-ray deinstallation that my crew accomplished. We went ahead and took it out in pieces, and the Escalara is a very good tool for removing panoramic X-rays. Okay, this is the Escalara StairCat. I 100% recommend this to anybody who needs to do any routine lifting. It is a very high quality piece of equipment, and again, they've earned their 5-star review here. This is just paid for itself time and time again with my business. I've been able to do a lot of work and build a lot of relationships, and actually demonstrate a degree of preparedness and professionalism that is very notable. A lot of my customers, remark about the stair climbing dolly when they see it, and it's definitely an impressive thing to bring onto a job site. They are a little bit expensive. However, I promise you, if you're running a business, that will quickly pay itself off, and it would be just the benefits of this far outweigh what it costs. This is a scenario where if you buy this, it will definitely save you on the amount of people that you need to do a job. It will increase the safety, and I just think there's a lot of benefits. If you are looking to purchase it, I would highly recommend that you buy it through Hand Trucks to Go. This is where I bought mine, and this is the way that you would go ahead and purchase it. And if you call and talk to them, they will walk you through the options. Again, the two options that I have that are not on this picture is the actual lifting attachment. Okay, that goes on the front. It's actually a second piece, so you could actually take that off if you wanted to, as well as the plate. There's a plate that goes on the bottom, and so those are two very important things if you're going to be utilizing this for dental equipment service. So again, this is Jason from the Dental Equipment Repair Channel. Just trying to give you a little bit of information in a little bit of a more lengthy video today, but this is something that, again, is really worth spending some time on, and hopefully you got some enjoyment out of seeing the application for dental-specific equipment for how the Escalara StairCat can help you. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.